Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
Sri Lalita Madhava, Act 7, Meeting in New Vrindavan. Attended by Bakula, Radha enters. Radha speaks. Even the fragrance of Krishna is now far away from me. Each moment has become for me a great aeon of suffering. The wicked burning ghee of hope has set my life breath on fire. Where can I find relief? Bakula speaks. O Satyabhama, even though Navavrinda kindly told me your secret, still there is something I would like to ask you. Radha says, ask as you like. Bakula asks, our king is the crest jewel of all handsome men. He is the monarch who controls all the three worlds. If you but say the word, then, even if by doing it I become the enemy of Queen Rukmini, I will tell him about you. Radha replies in Sanskrit, the king of Dwarka may rule the three worlds, and he may also be extremely handsome. Still, what is he to us? Please stop. Why do you deliberately try to ignite the fire of my curse on you? Even with the strength of millions of clear logical arguments, you will not give me the power to pull myself from the lotus feet of the Prince of Braja. Bakula speaks. Friend, you should ask Navavrinda what is the right thing to do. Radha says, where did Navavrinda go? Bakula replies, the queen called her to the inner rooms of the palace. Radha says, alas, wicked destiny has placed me under this person's control. Navavrinda enters and says, friend Satyabhama, don't lament. Look, look. This Madhavi vine first falls at the feet of this buttery bush, and then resting on that bush climbs to embrace her lover, the mango tree. A chaste woman whose heart is determined to meet the Lord of her life does not find it painful to be dependent on someone else in the course of attaining her goal. Radha asks, what are these ornaments in your hand? Navavrinda replies, Indra's wife Sachi gave these celestial flower garlands, necklaces, silken garments, and other gifts to our queen Rukmini, and Rukmini is now dividing them among her friends. She will also give a portion to you. Radha says, what is the use of these ornaments? They are only fuel to feed the fire of my suffering. Navavrinda says, friend, you may use them to worship the sun god. Radha says, the sun god told me, child, enter the new Vrindavan created in the midst of Dwarka city on the ocean shore and enjoy pastimes with the Lord of your life. Navavrinda says, O girl with the beautiful eyes, the words of the great demigods never go in vain. Radha in Sanskrit says, friend, Krishna now rules the city of Mathura, and I am a prisoner in the emperor's capital. It is not possible to meet my beloved. Navavrinda says, why lament? The movements of time are very difficult to understand. Look, now that autumn has begun, Kunjana birds have suddenly appeared on the shores of the lakes and streams. They are now playing there. Note, Navavrinda hints that when the proper time comes, Radha will meet her beloved. Radha speaks. As a Kunjana bird does not like to stay where there is no lake or stream, so a noble person does not like to stay in a prison where he is not free. Navavrinda laughing says, O bewildered girl, why do you think the king of Braj has lost his freedom? Radha, angry, says, O pet monkey in the emperor's garden, stop, stop. Navavrinda, laughing, says, O simple-hearted girl, know that the emperor of Dwarka is the king of Braja. Radha, excited, says, Is this the truth? Navavrinda, aside, says, Alas, how have I slipped and forgotten my vow? And openly she says, He is not only addressed as the emperor, they also call him Ramachandra and Upendra. They even call him King of Braj. Bakula says, "For this reason I say, give up your attachment for this other man and just give all your energy to please the emperor." Radha in Sanskrit says, "Krishna wears a peacock feather crown in his hair and a large gunja necklace around his neck. The flute plays to his mouth brings us great happiness. My heart will not accept any man except Krishna, the most handsome man in the universe." Bakula says, "Friend, you are a fool. That is why you so deeply love this hard-hearted man." Radha, agitated, says in Sanskrit, "Fool, don't talk. Friend, even though he be harsh and neglect me for thousands of years, never, even after countless births, will my heart become bewildered and give up the loving service of my most beloved Krishna." Navavrinda says, "Bakula, stop. She is faithful to her lover." Radha in Sanskrit says, "Now that Krishna, the master of Gokula, is no longer here, these vines where I so long stayed, these forest groves where I walked, and these shores of the Jamuna where in the past I spent so much time wandering have all combined to torture me." Navavrinda says, "Bakula, see how much she suffers. Please go and make her a bed of lotus petals under the Kadamba tree by the Jamuna shore." Bakula replies, "As my dear friend says." Then she exits. Radha in Sanskrit says, "I am now broken by the pain of separation from my friends in Braja, who are all more dear to me than my own life. I believed the words of the sun god, and they gave me hope. What sufferings did these vain hopes not bring me?" Navavrinda says, "Where's your dear friend Vishaka?" Radha says, after asking permission from her father, "Beautiful Vishaka came to this earth. Now it is only Lalita who torments me." And then she cries. Navavrinda asks, "Where did you hear of Lalita's fate?" Radha replies, "As I was ascending to the heavenly planets, I heard it from the demigods." Navavrinda says, "Radha, last night as you were sleeping, you spoke to Lalita in a dream." Radha asks, "What did I say?" Navavrinda replies, "You said, 'Lalita, the vine of desires in Akrura's heart has now borne its fruit. Alas, alas, look, Krishna has climbed the chariot. O slender girl, when I heard you say these pathetic words in your sleep, I thought the rain falling outside was disguised tears of the weeping goddess of night." Radha, unhappy in Sanskrit, says, "After my long struggle last night, Krishna in a dream entered the courtyard of my eyes. Alas, how did cruel Akrura come there so quickly on his chariot?" Bakula enters. Then she says, "Ah, I have made the bed. Come." The three girls walk. Navavrinda, frightened, says, "Don't go there. Turn back this moment. Dear friend, there is an ashok tree in front of you. O lotus-faced girl, if your foot touches it, this tree will at once burst into flower, and this place will at once be filled with villain bumblebees buzzing like Indra's thunderbolt." Radha turns back in embarrassment and says in Sanskrit, "O friend, without the auspicious sight of Lord Krishna, I have no love for this unfortunate, wretched life. Without him, I will not continue to remain alive. If these cruel chains of hope did not bind me, I would happily give up billions of such lives." Bakula says, "This is the bed." Radha lies down on the bed and says to herself, "It is very difficult for me to remain alive in this Vrindavan. I must find some remedy." Openly she says, "Navavrinda, because I cannot perform my regular activities, I have become very unhappy." Navavrinda asks, "Friend, what regular activities?" Radha in Sanskrit replies, "O charming girl, by Narada's order at my father's house we used to worship a deity with a handsome face decorated with the flute it played. It had crooked, restless eyes, a peacock feather on its head, and a form bent in 3 places. It was in the full bloom of youth, and with a splendor dark as a monsoon cloud." Navavrinda aside says, "I can understand she yearns to see Krishna's form. I will show her the sapphire Krishna deity Indra's sculptor Vishwakarma made to decorate the land of Vrindavan." Openly she says, Friend, now I will go to bring your worshipable deity and show him to you. She then exits. Radha, looking ahead, says in Sanskrit, "These new Karnikara flowers by the Jamuna's shore, the same kind of flowers Peacock Feather Crown Krishna placed in my hair when he left the arena of the Rasa dance with me, now make me burn with pain." Navavrinda enters. "Friend, come at once and see the deity." Radha says, "Navavrinda, bring an offering for the deity." Navavrinda says, "Bakula, from the cottage of Vasanti Vines, please bring the celestial garland and cloth the queen gave us." Bakula then exits. Navavrinda smiles and says, "Friend Radha, others may worship Krishna by offering him flowers and fragrant incense and by reciting prayers and bowing down before him. But you, O girl whose sweet voice is like the cooing of the cuckoos, and the girls of Gokula like you, worship him with crooked sidelong glances, embraces, and many kinds of amorous pastimes." Walking, she says, "Look, your worshipable deity eagerly stands before you." Radha, filled with intense longing, gazes at the deity from a distance and then says in Sanskrit, "Ah, now the splendid, very dark effulgence of this person, a moon that is the friend of the lotus gopis, shines in my presence. Now all the pain I suffered to remain alive in this body has become worthwhile." She walks up to the altar and says in a choked-up voice, "O moon-faced one, my dear friend has again come to me. My desire to see him scorches my body and wounds my heart with a monsoon of pain. My life breath yearns to meet him in Vrindavan and enjoy pastimes with him in a cottage by the Jamuna's shore." Filled with love, she speaks to the Krishna deity. "Before you were so tender and affectionate, and I thought you were my property. Now you are so harsh, I dare not be so proud to think I belong to you." Navavrinda aside says, "Ah, these are waves of the ocean of love." Radha, aside to Navavrinda in Sanskrit, says, "Charming artistic jokes he does not speak. With the two pillars of his arms he does not bind me in an embrace. Instead, with bent eyebrows and the slight trace of a playful smile, this crest jewel of all villains simply licks me with his crooked glance." Navavrinda says, "This is the inscrutable joke of the best of the mischievous lovers. Rebuke him with the corner of your eyes, and mock him with many crooked words." Radha, staring at him with crooked eyes, says in Sanskrit, "For so long you have the company of this Kaustubha jewel, the friend of Indra's thunderbolt. That is why this hardness has entered your heart. This person is swallowed up by a host of sufferings. You have the power to give her relief. Why do you cheat her instead?" Aside to Navavrinda, she says, "Look, this is wrong. This is wrong. Even though Krishna, who wears a garland of forest flowers, is as soft and gentle as a blue lotus flower, he still kisses this harsh, hard flute. I will take it from him." Navavrinda aside says, "It will not be good for her to pull away the flute. With a trick I will teach her the truth." With a playful smile, she openly says, "O beautiful, bewildered girl, why do you uselessly say he is soft as a blue lotus flower? You should say that he is as hard as a sapphire. O girl with the lotus face, if you do not believe my words, then just press your breast against his broad chest." Radha places a hand on the chest and at once becomes upset. "What? It is true. This is a deity made of sapphire," she reflects. "Alas, alas! Overwhelmed by intense longing, I forgot everything. I thought this statue before me was Krishna." Bakula enters. Then she says, "Take this garland, cloth, and fragrant ointment." Radha takes them and shows her desire to decorate the deity with them. Navavrinda says, "When you approach your lover, you become very charming and beautiful. Friend, you are like the spring season, which cannot fully display its glory without the company of the poetic cuckoo bird." Madhavi enters and says, "Princess Rukmini sent me to learn how Satyabhama is doing. This is New Vrindavan forest before me. Let me enter it." She walks in. "Ah, the Lord must have entered this Vrindavan. I can see his footprints marked with conch disc and other symbols. I will finish the matter at hand and then bring the Princess Rukmini to this place." Trembling and shedding tears, Radha decorates the deity of Lord Krishna. Madhavi says, I see a garland of blue lotus flowers that fell from the deity. She picks it up with her hand. Agitated, she loudly calls, Friend Bakula, where are you? Navavrinda anxiously says, Satyabhama, Madhavi is nearby. Run from this place at once. Radha says, My thirst to see him is still not satisfied. Let us quickly return. The three girls exit. Madhavi, seeing her, says, Why is Satyabhama here? Approaching, she says, Friend, I have come here to pick jasmine flowers. Radha, smelling the fragrance, says to herself, From where has the sweet fragrance suddenly come? It makes my heart tremble. Seeing the garland in Madhavi's hand, Radha says to herself, This is the glorious sweet fragrance of the blue lotus garland worn by Krishna, the son who is the friend of the lotus flower gopis. What other fragrance can violently agitate my heart and senses in this way? Madhavi, struck with wonder, says in Sanskrit, As you smell the sweet fragrance of this garland of blue lotus flowers, why do you suddenly tremble? Why do the hairs in your body stand up? Why are you overwhelmed? Radha, aside, says, I must conceal the truth. Openly, she says, Madhavi, when I saw the garland of blue lotuses, I remembered the many snakes I saw today in Kaliya Lake, and for a moment I was overcome with fear. Navavrinda, aside, says, That is a very good answer. Radha, aside, says, The garland must have been offered to this deity. Madhavi says, Friend Satyabhama, now I will go to the jasmine pavilion and pick flowers. Everyone says, This way, dear friend. Then they exit. Followed by Madhu Mangal, Krishna enters. Krishna, being anxious, says, Shining as a Suryakanta stone, this Kaustubha jewel on my chest tortures my heart with rising flames of light. Within a moment my garland of forest flowers is wilted, and my sandalwood ointment dried and turned to dust. Glancing to the left, he says, Dear friend, how far is Vrindavan forest? Madhu Mangal in Sanskrit replies, She has the splendor of many beautiful champaka flowers. Her voice is filled with the sweet sounds of many jubilant cuckoos. Within her are the graceful motions of many swans. She is beautiful with many black deer. Look at her. He is interrupted in the middle of his words. Note, the word Krishna Saratika was intended by Madhu Mangal to mean filled, adhika, with black deer, Krishna Sara. Krishna, however, interpreted the words to mean Krishna Sa Radhika, which means, O Krishna, this is Sa Radhika, Radhika. What Madhu Mangal intended to be is a description of the Vrindavan forest. Krishna interpreted it, however, to be a description of Radha. Krishna interrupted Madhu Mangal before he could finish. Krishna, bewildered and extremely eager, says, Friend, where is she? Where is she? Madhu Mangal, pointing with his fingers, says, Here is your beloved. Krishna, bewildered, says, Friend, I don't see her. At once show her to me. Where is my Radhika? Madhu Mangal says, Krishna, I was describing the Vrindavan forest. Krishna reflects for a moment and then sighs and says, Why is it that simply by hearing the syllables of her name I become overwhelmed with the desire to find her? Golden complexioned Radha used to beautifully decorate all my limbs with these fragrant jasmine flowers. Look, now these same jasmine flowers have become transformed into the sharp arrows of Cupid, and the buzzing bees within these flowers have changed into dangerous wrestlers. Now both these arrows and wrestlers are violently attacking me. Walking, he continues, covered by many blossoming vines and filled with newly budding twigs, these trees on the Jamuna's shore expertly imitate the beauty of Radha's earrings. Madhu Mangal, struck with wonder, says, Friend, the spring season is now in its youth. Why does it not show the signs of youth? Krishna says, Friend, you speak the truth. The cuckoos and bees have taken a vow of silence. The new sprouts on the mango tree have suddenly stopped, and the blossoming buds on the ashok trees have also stopped. Has the goddess of spring fallen asleep on the Jamuna's shore? Madhu Mangal says, Look, Here is a bed of lotus flowers made by a girl separated from her lover. Krishna says, perhaps to save this girl's life, one of her friends made the goddess of spring unconscious. Looking at the bed, he becomes filled with anguish. Fashioned with many lotus flowers and sprinkled with the nearby Jamuna's gentle waves, this empty bed sets my limbs on fire. It tortures my heart and makes my thoughts tremble. Madhumangal says, now that you have glorified the bed, you should praise the forest cottage ahead of us. Krishna walks. He eagerly gazes and becomes filled with wonder. Is this a graceful deity decorated with forest flowers? He goes close to the deity. This must be the art of Vishwakarma, the master of all sculptors. Madhumangal eagerly says, Oh, after a long time I have found my dear friend. You are a great king. You are not a Brahmin boy as I. Inspecting, he says, Dear friend, look, some girl has very lovingly worshipped this deity. Krishna says, Friend, your perception is good. This carelessly placed flower garland proclaims that this girl was overwhelmed with emotion. This broken sandalwood paste declares that she was crying a monsoon of tears. This crooked tilak marking states that her hand was trembling. The way this slender girl worshipped the deity speaks of her great love. A voice from behind the scenes says, This way, dear friend, this way. Krishna says, Friend, now the girls who worship this deity are returning. Take the deity into the forest. I will assume the same charming decorations the deity had. I will stand on the altar as it did, and I will see the great love and faith of these girls whose beautiful lips are as red as bimba fruits. They both act accordingly. Accompanied by two gopi friends, Radha enters. Radha looks ahead, and the hairs of her body stand erect. The deity is so sweetly handsome. It creates the same wonderful impression of directly seeing Krishna. Bakula, aside to Navavrinda, says, Navavrinda, look how handsome the deity is. Navavrinda, smiling, says, Bewildered girl, Satyabhama's madness of love has also entered you. You also think that this deity is actually Krishna. Krishna, struck with wonder and happiness, says aside, who is this Kalpa-lata vine that enchants my heart? And with great desire, he says, her teeth very beautiful, curling locks of black hair dancing at the corners of her eyes, and the beauty of her lotus face eloquently proclaiming the torment in her heart. A very beautiful girl has entered the pathway of my eyes. He looks again and becomes struck with wonder. Is this Radha, who is more dear to me than my own life? Struggling to check a flood of tears, he reflects. This girl must be an illusory Radha the celestial sculptor Vishwakarma made to bring me some happiness in this beautiful Vrindavan. How is it possible for a Radha to pass the fortifications of Dwarka city and then enter the inner rooms of my palace? Radha, gazing at Krishna's moon-like face, says, I am filled with such a strong desire to meet Krishna. I am so bewildered. I think this statue of Krishna is Krishna himself. Crying a stream of tears, she folds her hands and says, O reflection of Krishna, is the real lotus-eyed Krishna well and happy now? Krishna jubilantly says, O illusion of Radha created by magic spells, Krishna is indeed very happy at this moment. He is happy because your features exactly resemble the extraordinary features of Radha. You are now asking about his welfare. Radha, struck with wonder, says, Well done, Navavrinda, well done, well done. This statue is so expertly crafted, it is even able to speak sweet words. Krishna says, this magical mirage of Radha is very wonderful. Radha is clearly reflected in this very place. Radha, jubilant and struck with wonder, says, The sweet fragrance of this statue delights my nose. The splendid color of this statue, dark as a monsoon cloud, attracts my eyes. The charming words spoken by this statue make my ears tremble with happiness. This statue exactly is like Krishna himself. In a plaintive voice she says, O statue of Krishna, this Radha begs you with millions of sweet words. Please become a living, moving person and give some happiness to the pain-filled eyes of this poor girl. Krishna says, O sculptor, I become very fortunate. He cries a stream of tears. Navavrinda says, "Friend, with the edge of your sari you should wipe away the tears from the lotus face of your beloved." Radha shyly does that. Navavrinda aside says, "This statue of Krishna feels intense happiness by the touch of Radha's body. The statue's eyes are filled with tears, and it now leans against the Kadamba tree behind it. How are these things possible?" Radha says, Oh, the statue has come to life." She faints. A tumultuous sound comes from behind the scenes. Bakula, agitated, says, "Navavrinda, why are the peacocks fleeing and crying in fear?" Navavrinda replies, "Rukmini must have come to Vrindavan with her friends who wear tinkling bells on their ankles. Thinking the tinkling sounds are the warbling of the most graceful swans, the peacocks are now fleeing in fear and embarrassment. Rukmini is coming. You must quickly take away Satyabhama from this place." Bakula says, "You speak well." She takes up the fainted Radha and exits. Madhumangal, emerging from the forest, says, "Wonderful, wonderful! Oh, dear friend, in truth you become a motionless statue." Krishna looks ahead and says, "Alas, alas! Where has the magical statue created by Vishvakarma gone? He is filled with wonder. Navavrinda, can you bring back this magical statue that filled the universe with wonder?" Navavrinda says, "Why not?" Krishna eagerly says, "Oh friend, bring the statue at once." Navavrinda says, "Oh Lord, Queen Rukmini is approaching. I am afraid of her. I will flee from her as the Chakravaki bird flees moonlight." Accompanied by her friends, Chandravali enters. Chandravali says, "O Madhavi, the fire of grief for my lost sister Radha has not become extinguished even today. It still burns." Madhavi says, "Princess, it is your nature to be very affectionate to others. How will you be able to extinguish this fire of love?" Chandravali says, "Friend, my husband spent all of last night calling out, 'Oh Radha, Radha,' in his sleep." Madhavi says, "His heart must be upset by something he saw in last night's dream. He must have entered Vrindavan forest to cheer up his unhappy heart." Chandravali says, "You speak the truth." Madhavi says, "O princess, look, your husband has come to this forest grove." Chandravali, gazing with crooked eyes, says, "I can see that he is very happy in this Vrindavan forest. I think he must have tasted some sweet nectar he did not know before." Madhavi, looking, speaks, "Princess, he must have met charming Satyabhama." Chandravali says, "O friend, it is true, it is true. On his body is the same celestial cloth I gave to Satyabhama. I will approach him and learn the truth." She approaches him. All glories to my husband." Krishna, concealing his real feelings, says, "Beloved, how fortunate that you have come to Vrindavan just at this time." Chandravali, gazing at Krishna, becomes struck with wonder. She whispers to Madhavi, "Now that he is decorated with these forest ornaments, Krishna shows great waves of sweetness never seen in this world. Still bitten by the snake of jealous anger, my heart cannot become happy, even by gazing at the sweetness of Krishna." Smiling, she says, "Lord, you are very fortunate. Now you are trembling with happiness by enjoying a great festival of association with your new lover." Krishna, laughing, says, "Beloved, say old lover." Chandravali suspiciously says, "Who is this old lover?" Krishna says, "Beloved, please don't be suspicious. These vines of the Vrindavan forest are my old lover. It is nothing more." Madhavi says, "Your husband speaks the truth. The desire vine gave him this flower garland." Krishna says, "Madhavi, don't unnecessarily mark pure-hearted Chandravali with the black spot of these suspicions. This garland was made by Madhumangal's artistic skill." Chandravali, with a meaningful smile, says, "O noble Madhumangal, is this red garment also the product of your artistic skill?" Krishna, aside, says, "My queen must have seen this garment before." Openly, he says, "My queen, the goddess of this forest gave this cloth to me." Madhavi says, Lord, please give your permission so that the queen may return home. Krishna says, My queen, don't believe Madhavi's lies. Chandravali says, O Madhavi, Saraswati, the goddess of truth, has come on my side. Note, this is a reference to previous speech where the ambiguous word Madhavyam may mean either of Madhavi or of Madhava, Krishna. If the second meaning is accepted, then Krishna may be understood to have said, My queen, don't believe Krishna's lies. In the present statement, Chandravali claims that the goddess of truth forced Krishna to admit he was lying. Krishna aside says, Even with my own words, my queen attacks me. Chandravali says, Krishna. She stops in the middle of her words and then continues in a much more timid fashion. O noble husband. Note, Chandravali is worried that she is becoming too bold. Krishna, with a blissful smile, says, Beloved, you have already given me a flood of sweet nectar to drink. What is the use of giving me this well water of, O noble husband? Note, Krishna prefers Chandravali's angry words, which he calls a flood of nectar, to her sweet politeness, which he calls well water. Chandravali says, I am not such a fool that your blissful pastimes will make me unhappy. Krishna says, I burn with pain because the harsh sunlight troubles your body. O queen, please bring me to the shade of a sandal tree and make me cool again. Madhavi says, My lord, this princess has a very hard heart. She can easily bear any great heat or any great suffering. Right before your own eyes, she thought the blazing sacrificial fire in the temple of Chandrabhaga was a pool of water for water pastimes. Krishna aside says, Well done, Madhavi, well done. Now you have shown your love for her. Now you have acted as a true friend. Chandravali says, O noble husband, now you may enjoy pastimes with this lover so dear to your heart. I am going into the palace. Accompanied by her friend, she exits. Krishna says, Friend, this is a great calamity. My queen is angry. Madhumangal says, Don't talk like that. I did not see that the queen was angry at all. Krishna says, Friend, a thoughtful girl will hide her anger. The sweet moonlight of her smile is not eclipsed, and the sweetness of her words is not turned bitter. Still the warm sighs visible on the bodice that covers her raised breast proclaim the anger hidden in her heart. Now my wish is to please her and make her happy. They both exit, and everyone exits.